Premier Sports League. We'll also be streaming live on their Facebook page right now. It's at PSL on Facebook. Today we're going to be talking about the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, which, as you all know, is one of the biggest sports tournaments that India would have ever organized in history. It's a special tournament for many reasons. One being that it's the first time an Indian team will actually be taking part in a FIFA World Cup. It's the first time first time India is hosting a FIFA event of any kind, I beg your pardon. These bunch of boys have really been put through a rigorous set of training for the last 2 years. In fact, they've been together, they've gotten various exposure trips across the world. They've gone to Europe, they've gone to South America, they've played in high altitudes, they've played in low altitudes, they've got all sorts of experience, and they're gunning to do well for the nation. Let me just go through the Indian team for now. The final squad list of 21 was announced by Coach Luis Norton de Matos about 2 weeks back, and it had a few notable omissions. But the team that's been selected is arguably the strongest Indian team that could have been picked over the last 2 years. In fact, Abhishek Yadav, who is the head of scouting and an ex-India player, has scouted over 14,000 Indian players, in running up to the tournament. So there's been quite a lot of extensive research that's gone on in the kind of players they want to recruit. Let me just start with the goalkeepers. Dheeraj Singh of Manipur is expected to be between the sticks. He's the number one as things stand right now, and he's somewhat of a penalty expert. Like, he saved 2 penalties at the AFC Under-16 Championship that India hosted last year. We had a really good performance in that tournament. We finished third in the group with one draw and 2 losses, and we had a really good performance in that tournament, particularly against Saudi Arabia, with our central defender Sanjeev Stalin, beg your pardon. Just took me a moment over there to kind of get his name right. Sanjeev Stalin is a free kick expert. He scored a beautiful free kick in that tournament. Let me just go through them. So Dheeraj Singh will be the goalkeeper. Prabhsukan Singh Gill will be the number 2 in charge, with Sunny Singh Dhaliwal. Now, what's interesting is that Sunny Singh Dhaliwal plays for is a PIO, is a person of Indian origin who was scouted by Abhishek Yadav to come on board and join the Indian team before the tournament. They ran an extensive campaign where they scouted the best available talent across the world, Indian talent across the world. So Dhaliwal is one of them. We have Anwar Ali in defense, who comes from Minerva, Punjab. Sanjeev Stalin, Boris Singh, Henry Antony, Jitendra Singh, and Namit Deshpande, who are making up the defense. And we already have a question. Chinmay asks, in your opinion, what's a respectable performance for the Indian team? The optimist in me will always say that we have a chance of doing well. However, if we manage to find a third place finish in the group, because there's a qualification available for the 4 best third place teams across the 6 groups. So if we can manage to sneak into that third place somehow, in my opinion, it will be a great performance for the tournament. Large part of how the tournament is going to go will, in my opinion, be determined in the first 30-35 minutes of our first match against the USA, because these boys will be pumped with adrenaline. The crowd will be there, everything will be going for them. So if they manage to keep the scores level during that time and not concede, the further the game goes on and further the clock runs down, USA will be on the edge of their seats, and they'll be slightly wary about the threat. Akhil Nair asks us, what would be a good result for the India Under-17 side, considering the squad and they made an appearance in the tournament? So, like I said, Akhil, a third place finished in the group. And once the knockout stages start, anything is really possible. The Indian team, like I told you, has been together since 2015. They've played 84 matches during that time, out of which they've won 39, they've lost 30, and they've drawn the rest. They played some quality opposition like Benfica. They drew 2-2 against Benfica in a tournament last year. They took part in the BRICS League that happened in Goa. Of all the BRICS nations came, and we lost 3-1 to Brazil in that tournament, but our midfielder Komal Thatal scored a really good goal. It's one for the ages, I'm telling you, because this guy's going to go on and become a star. Let me go to the midfield. There's Mohammad Shahjahan, Rahul Kanoli Praveen in the midfield, Nongnamba Nawarem from Manipur, Jackson Singh, Laleng Mavia, Komal Thatal, like I was mentioning, he's from Sikkim and he's one player to watch out for. Abhijit Sarkar, Ninthoi, Suresh Singh Wangjam, Amarjit Singh, who make up the midfield. And we have Rahim Ali and Aniket Jadhav as the forwards. Aniket Jadhav hails from Kolhapur and he's a tall, burly lad who's known to have a reputation of bullying centre halves. Sold in an under-17 tournament and that's a huge deal. His name is Isiaga Kamara from Guinea. He was born on December 20th, 2002, which means he's still 14.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Think back to what we were doing when we were 14 years
Suyash,
old.
let me ask you what you were doing when you were 14.
I was playing football, but not at a World Cup for sure. I was playing football in my school field. So yeah. If I could just go through the groups now. So we have, in our group, we have USA, we have Colombia and we have Ghana. USA, as you guys all know, have been a force to reckon with at the youth level. Ghana, it's never easy to play an African team at this level. Purely because of the physical development of these boys at such a young age. They're fast, they're quick, they have very good technique. So Ghana's going to be a tough opponent. Colombia also look very formidable. I've had the chance to witness a couple of training sessions of theirs firsthand, and let me tell you that these guys are really physically imposing. I had to talk with their coach, the interview for which is posted on the Ringside View, and he was of the opinion that it's best at this stage to just concentrate on oneself and not look too far ahead into analyzing other teams. He told me this when I asked him that if he has any plans or special plans of preparation against the Indian team, and he said no, at this point we're just concentrating on ourselves and seeing how we can do to the best of our abilities. So that might work in the Indian team's favor when we take on Colombia on the 9th of October. We have a question from Shovik here. Do you think this tournament will improve Indian football in the long run? Shovik, let me tell you, definitely. The answer is a definite yes. Provided that the facilities that have been built for this tournament are kept in good shape, are kept in good condition and are used. Because what happened the last time around when we hosted the Commonwealth Games was that even though the facilities were top notch, a lot of the infrastructure wasn't used very well, it wasn't kept very well. So that's one thing that people really need to be careful of this time around. But if you see, from everything from coach education to grassroots improvement, FIFA has come in and held a special session with coaches of the Indian cricket, of the Indian football team, and they've been instructed in how to prepare a pitch to international standards. So when education like that comes in of international standard and quality, we're going to benefit in the long run inevitably. There's 6 venues which have been upgraded to top-notch level. So the venues in GLN Stadium in Delhi and Navi Mumbai. We have a venue in Kochi. We have a venue in Guwahati. We have a venue in Goa. So it's really all over the place. Akshu says, Jai Ho, how are you? I'm good, Akshu. Hope you're supporting the team in this World Cup. Hope you bought your tickets. As you know, the 6 cities hosting the tournament this time. Do go out and watch the boys. Support the guys. They need every bit of it.
Another question,
Sure.
Suyash. What is, since we discussed the youngest player, what is the youngest squad at the World Cup right now?
It's Guinea. Because in fact, as it turns out, Guinea has 2 other players who were born in 2002. In a funny set of coincidences maybe. So Guinea is the youngest team.
Wow.
On the other hand, staying on the topic, we have the oldest team, which is Niger. Funnily enough, they have 5 players born on the cutoff date, which is 1st January 2000. So, but hey, I think they just got lucky with the abundance of football talent on that day. All Millennium babies. So yeah, that's the youngest and oldest teams for you over there in the tournament.
Awesome.
Right. So that's pretty much India's group. By the way, at this level, India's best performance in a qualifying tournament for the FIFA U-17 World Cup was a was a quarterfinal appearance in 2002 in the AFC Under-16 Championship, which serves as a qualification tournament for the Under-17 World Cup. We finished, which counts as a qualification now. It wasn't counted as a qualification back then. We had a quarterfinal finish in that tournament. So historically, India has had pretty good youth teams. It's during that jump from the youth team till senior team is where the infrastructure and needs to be upgraded a little bit. The coaches need to be better, but these set of boys do have the potential to change that. That's India's group. Now, coming to other groups, there's a group which features England, Mexico, Iraq, and Chile, which is arguably the group of death this time in the tournament. Because Iraq are Asian champions. They won the AFC Under-16 Championship in Goa last year by beating Iran on penalties. We have Chile, who are a formidable team in the South American region. We have England, who have some of the best talent in world football at the minute. You have Jadon Sancho, who signed for Borussia Dortmund on deadline day. You have the likes of Angel Gomez, who plays for Manchester United. You have Ryan Brewster from Liverpool, who's knocking on the door of the first team. You have Phil Foden from Manchester City. So it's a bunch of talent available in the England team. They're a pretty strong team. We then have Chile, who are finding it slightly hard to adjust to the hot and humid conditions in Kolkata, but I'm sure they're going to come around. And put up a good performance. And Mexico, who have won the Under-17 World Cup in the past, are also going to be in contention in that group.
Suyash, I have a question.
Sure, Prithvi.
What are the playing conditions in Delhi as compared to Calcutta, as compared to the other cities in India? Do you think that's going to make a difference?
It will make a difference, see, especially because of the fact that Delhi is in the northern part of the country. So it'll be kind of temperate climate around October, as compared to Calcutta, which is really, really hot and humid. Kochi will be hot and humid. Interestingly, Colombia were the first team to arrive in Delhi before the World Cup. They came a good 2 weeks before the tournament actually started. So they are the ones who have paid the most attention to getting acclimatized to the conditions, and they seem to be really, really serious about taking this tournament head on. But yeah, Goa will be hot and humid. It will be tough for some of these visiting teams, for sure. That'll be the case. India's group matches were initially supposed to happen in Mumbai. They got shifted to Delhi for reasons which are not very clear at this point. But it might just be a blessing in disguise, because Delhi, as you know, has a very, very big northeastern population, and it's a football crazy part of the country, and you're going to be sure to find the JLN Stadium at Delhi almost full to capacity, if not full to capacity completely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Do you think a country with a temperate or a hot, humid climate will take the cup?
Logic would dictate so,
Yeah.
because purely in terms of being physically ready or physically capable of doing well in the tournament, logic would dictate so. But I would still say that in the knockout stages, anything is really possible, because adrenaline takes over at that point. You have these kids, they're 17 years old, they're temperamental, they're emotional,
Right.
there's young blood. So under 17 level tournaments and the World Cup level tournaments kind of are different, because you have African sides dominating at the under 17 level. Nigeria has won the tournament so many times. Mali has won the tournament in the past. Africa is the most successful continent in this tournament. So watch out for an African team this time for sure. An African team might just take the cup. Yeah. Next we get on to the stadium preparations. Now, there were a few reports a few days back which suggested that the stadiums were not adequately prepared for the tournament. I can tell you that it's not the case anymore. The stadiums are up to speed. They boast the best of the facilities, and the stadiums have been handed over to FIFA about a week back is when they were handed over. That's how FIFA tournaments work. When you get a stadium, which a week prior to the tournament starting is handed over to FIFA. So it's a FIFA tournament happening in India, and you can be sure to expect a very, very, very good level of organization on behalf of all the people involved. We have 6 confederations, of course, like is the case in every World Cup, who are taking part in this tournament. You have New Caledonia, who are also a new entrant like India from Oceania. First time they're taking part in a FIFA World Cup of any sort, so that's as huge a deal for them as it is for us. We have Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay and Chile from South America. Again, very, very successful teams at the continental level. You have 5 teams from Europe. You have England, France, Germany, Spain and Turkey. You have USA, Costa Rica, Honduras and Mexico from the CONCACAF region. And you have India, Iran, Iraq, Japan and North Korea from Asia. In addition to Africa, which has Mali, Niger, Guinea and Ghana. 24 teams. It's a lesser number than a World Cup, which has 32 teams. But I'm sure it's going to be as competitive. And Aditya Malik is asking, what's the prize money? It's a huge amount, Aditya. It's you can be safe to assume that it's but these kids, they're not really playing for the prize money. They're not really playing. They're just going out and wanting to represent their country and do well. And that's essentially it. That's their motivation. These Indian kids have coming back to the Indian kids. They've had stories of hardship. Not a lot of them come from very, very good backgrounds. They are literally playing for pride and to give themselves a better chance, a better shot at life. There's 8 players from Manipur this time. Manipur has been the state which has contributed the most number of players to the Indian team. You have 2 players from West Bengal, then you have players from Karnataka. You have players from all parts of the country. I think I'm saying what's huge. It's huge. Huge is huge. That's what we have. Let's talk a bit about the preparation of the Indian team for this tournament. They, as I told you, they've played 84 games prior to this. They won 39 of those. They lost 30, and they've drawn 7 of them. Statistically, it's the most prepared Indian football team across all levels that's ever played a FIFA tournament. Akhil Nair's predictions, top 3 for the tournament. Yeah, you're making me put my head on the line, aren't you, Akhil? I'm gonna say that an African team is gonna be in the top 3 for sure. Purely because, as I said before, they're a force to reckon with at this level. Brazil is a strong contender, even though the star player Vinicius Junior is not traveling with them this time, for reasons which still need to be explored, because Flamengo, his parent club, has not released him for the World Cup, so he won't be traveling, which is quite a bummer for football fans in the country. But they have a strong team. England might just surprise a few people. Because you have Jadon Sancho of Manchester City, of Borussia Dortmund, signed by Borussia Dortmund on deadline day last season, who could be the key player. He wasn't scheduled to join the team as about 2 days back, but he's now come into full training and full practice, and he looks ready to lead the England charge in the tournament. So I would say watch out for England, Brazil and an African team. An African team could go far. You have Spain and Mexico and all these other countries who, of course, can't be ruled out. But since you're asking me to pick 3, I would pick those 3. I pick England because England's had a particularly good run at the youth level. They won the Under-20 World Cup with Dominic Solanke finishing as the Golden Boot winner in that tournament. They did well in the Under-19 level, so it might just be a good year for English youth football. Never know. What's the response like at PSL, Prithvi? We having questions coming in?
Yeah. We have a couple of questions about the shirt that you're holding on your hand right now.
What you talking about this?
Yeah, that's the one.
Let me tell you that this is a jersey signed by Sunil Chhetri. This is one of the oldest jerseys of the Indian football team in the recent past. The crest might be old, but the attitude is definitely new.
Awesome.
And you're sure to expect these boys to put in a good performance. Awesome. Signed by, there's an interesting story behind how I got this T-shirt, but I won't go into that right now.
Okay.
It involves a lot of craziness on my behalf as well.
Okay, so, great.
There's a question from Stuti on the ringside view saying, what's the current ranking of the Indian Under-17 team now? and which way do you see it going? Honestly, like I told you, a third place finish is realistic. All right, these boys have been told by their coach to not really think about what the result will be. They've been told to go out and play to their full potential. But a third place finish is definitely on the cards. Definitely on the cards. Let's talk a bit about players to watch out for in this tournament, because apart from the Indian players, you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of scouts from all across the world who are going to be coming to the tournament and looking to see who the next big talent is going to be. I have a list over here. Watch out for this boy called Takefusa Kubo of Japan. He plays for FC Tokyo, and he's been named the Japanese Messi over and over again. Now, I know we've had a lot of youngsters who've had that moniker and that burden placed on their shoulders about that equation with Messi, but he's a really special player. If you look for some of his highlights, look at his highlight reels, he can really turn it on when he wants to. So Kubo is one. Then there's Jairo Torres from Mexico, who plays for Club Atlas in Mexico in Liga MX. He's a player to watch out for. You have Jan Fiat Arp of Germany, who plays for Hamburg. He's one of the best strikers heading into the tournament. In fact, he scored a hat-trick in the under-17 Euros that happened earlier this season. He scored 2 hat-tricks and finished with 7 goals. He's a person to watch out for. You have Amine Gouiri of France, who plays for Lyon, another big star of the future. And you have Yadir Menezes of Envigado SC of Colombia, who is also going to be taking part in the tournament. So yeah, there's quite a few. Angel Gomez of Manchester United is another one of them. You know, quite a few talented youngsters playing in this tournament as of now. So that's about it. If there's any more questions, I'd be happy to take them. You can leave in the comment section below. And just want to wrap up by saying that it's the first time an Indian team is going to be playing in the World Cup. Do go out and support the team, buy your tickets, and be there in large numbers to support the team in the stadium, because it's going to be big and it's going to be a good occasion. So hoping for the best. I'll be live with you guys throughout the tournament and providing updates about how the matches are going. You can follow us on the ringside view, of course, and we'll be covering the tournament comprehensively. We're going to be at the stadium. My colleague Akhil Nair is going to be in Mumbai covering the matches. Might just be in Kolkata if things go well to cover the English team. There's a last question from Anirudh, which says, what's your perception about our Indian team captain? Amarjeet Singh Kayam is leading the campaign this time, and he's one of the most popular figures that way in the Indian team dressing room. He was elected captain in an internal poll. What's interesting is that under the last coach, Nikolai Adam, he was actually not picked to be captain, even though the players rallied for him, because he's a quiet character. He's not a talker on the pitch. He's a quiet character. But after Adam was replaced by Luis Norton de Matos, Amarjeet has been picked as the captain. He's a tenacious midfielder from Manipur, who's got very good technique on the ball. He knows how to pick a pass. He spreads it out wide. So he's going to be one player to watch out for sure. Yeah, that's one thing. To our friends at the PSL, hope this has been a good live broadcast for you so far. Prithvi is here with me, guys. Of course, follow the page, tell your friends about it. It's one of the fastest growing amateur leagues in the country, if not the most organized and biggest so far. So thank you for joining us today, and cheers, guys. Support India, and hope to see you guys at the stadium.
Awesome, thank you.
Cheers. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.